When he bought that bunch that I took to Portland on the train, he bid on them just like I was telling you a while ago. That's the way Dad had said for years. I went to the auction, and this was his motion.
I was just kind of thinking.
Yeah. And if he wanted to make a bid, and he didn't want everybody. The buyers were pretty shrewd.
Yeah.
They all had a little sign of old Gibbs was the auctioneer in the years that I knew him. Gibbs.
I don't remember the name.
Wooden hand, but he had a black glove on. That's what he did.
That rings a bell.
But Dad bought a bunch of canners and cutters, and you probably don't know what they are, but they're just like it sounds. They were old poor cows that had lived their life, and he paid something like 4 cents a pound for them, but he did it accidentally like that. And he took them home, and some of them he'd hardly get home, but anyway, we turned around, and I'd been on a trip, and I think it's about time we got back. Dad said, "How'd you like to take a trip to Portland?" And I said, "Hey, that'd be all right. What, tell me about it," or whatever. And they said, "Well, I'm going to ship these cattle, and let you be the one to go with them and make the deal and sell them." Boy, did I feel big. I thought So I went, I got get to ride in a caboose all the way over, and just about to break out of the war. And I'm a little guy up there on the rails of the auction place where the cattle ended up in Portland, and arranged with the buyers to sell these cattle. And there's several buyers around, and I didn't know from Shinola about how to approach them, but they got the wind around them that the boys in charge of these cattle, and Dad had told me to get what I can out and do the best I could. And I think I wired Dad once and said, "Boy, I'm having trouble getting anything at all more than what you paid for them." He said, "Well, we don't want to. Once you bring them back, you better sell them." I think I got 4.5 cents a pound for them. But going over, I stopped once, and I had to go, and we'd had to unload them. They had a certain yard that the railroad, the rules or whatever, to feed and water them. Take a little time and especially water them. And then back in the train, the caboose, till we got to Portland. And on the way back, I got to ride first class. And there's a lot of military people moving back and forth at that time. It's somewhere around the breakout of the war, maybe a little bit later. So I had my experience, and Dad got his money back, and to get him out of that train car to water him and feed him at that time. Some of them didn't even get up. I mean, it was a sad bunch of I think Dad was ashamed. He thought I needed the experience. But Dad had offers from the big meat packing plants that they'd offered several more than once. I don't know how many times to hire him full time as a buyer for the big companies in Minneapolis and you name it, different part of the game. Dad knew his livestock. He could look at them and just about weigh them for him. And I used to have a little contest what stuff would weigh. Yeah,
we did too.
I bet you did. And it's quite an experience. He wouldn't miss very many pounds on a fat hog or be a beef. And that's the way I learned a little bit. And if he had a chance before to sell, he could tell me, excuse me, right by the tailbone, there's a little lump that grows on them. We have it on our little dog now. By the way, she's getting a little fat on them. That's where they gauge what shape they're in. It has a lot to do with it.
Oh, the bumps on each side of the tail?
Yeah, they're kind of round.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly on top.
Yeah.
But they just go by, and all the cattlemen, that's the way, one of the ways of checking.